What's going on, everybody? It's Alex Driskell from Sweet Georgia Sports, and today we're coming at you with a top 10 pitching prospects list because let's face it, the Braves have one of the very best, if not the best, farm system in all of baseball and are absolutely loaded with pitching talent. So let's get right into the list. At number 10 is Max Fried. Fried pitched in competitive baseball this past season for the first time since 2014 when he was shut down and then consequently missed the entire 2015 season due to Tommy John surgery. He came over in the Justin Upton deal after he was still being highly touted in the Padres farm system. This past season with low A Rome, Fried had a good season considering he hadn't pitched in 20 months. When he is consistently at 100% health, Fried's simple but stellar mix of a low 90s fastball, a curveball, and a changeup that he's been getting a great feel for since he came off his Tommy John surgery. Being a hard worker, evidenced by him being extremely driven during his rehab, if Fried continues to improve, he could start showing the return the Braves had hoped for when they traded for him. Coming in at number 9 is Touki Toussaint. With one of the most colorful names in all levels of baseball, Toussaint came over from Arizona in return for essentially taking on MLB veteran Bronson Arroyo's salary. Post-deal, Toussaint tried a bit too hard to prove his worth, but once he started proving his coachability, he started to click and consistently repeat his delivery. His high to mid-90s fastball has had some command issues, but he makes up for it with a plus 12-6 curveball. An average at best changeup runs out his pitch arsenal. Toussaint seems to be relaxing and settling in a bit more lately and can very well keep climbing the ladder of the farm system until he probably makes his debut in either 2018 or 2019. Coming in at number 8 is Luis Gohara. Gohara came over with fellow Seattle Mariners pitching prospect Thomas Burrows when the front office dealt away Mallex Smith and Shea Simmons. He was signed in 2012 as a 16-year-old from Brazil. He got off to a good start in his pro debut and held his own in rookie ball in 2013. Up until this past season, Gohara had regressed a bit and his work ethic came into question. This year, though, in a combined 13 starts, he had a stellar bounce-back year to improve his stock. At 6'3", 210, Gohara is a big-body lefty that possesses a fastball that sits in the mid to high 90s and can touch 100 when he wants to, a slider that can be tough against left-handed hitters, and a change that he developed more feel for this past season. If he can stay in shape and repeat his mechanics consistently, Gohara could very well reach Atlanta within the next 2 seasons. Coming in at number 7 is Joey Wentz. Wentz was taken 40th overall in the 2016 draft. Dead arm issues plagued him in the summer of 2015, but he did take part in a throwing program as he nursed his arm back to health. That arm can throw a fastball that sits in the low to mid 90s, a plus curve, and a nice changeup with some fading action. Possessing great arm action and a plus ability to repeat his delivery allows Wentz to throw strikes with ease. A very competitive kid, Wentz could potentially become a frontline starter the Braves drafted. Coming in at number 6 is Kyle Mueller. Mueller was taken in the second round as the 44th overall pick in the 2016 MLB draft when he was pulled away from his Texas Longhorn commitment. He drastically changed his velocity from the high 80s to the low to mid 90s, which he throws with good sink and tailing action. His huge 6'6" frame makes up for a curve and a change that both can be inconsistent. A very good athlete that has a good ability to repeat his delivery time after time, Mueller could become a part of a dominant 1-2-3 combo with his 2016 draft mates Ian Anderson and Joey Wentz. Coming in at number 5 is Ian Anderson. Anderson was taken 3rd overall by the Braves in the 2016 draft and was considered a steal even at the 3rd overall spot. He's tall, standing in at 6'3", but will need to fill out his frame as he's only 170 pounds right now. He throws a low to mid-90s fastball, a breaking ball that has slurve, which is a mix of slider and curve action that he gets swings and misses on, and a change that could potentially become a plus pitch for the young righty. Although when the Braves drafted Anderson, it was said to be a money saver, he has had fantastic upside and ceiling and could potentially become a frontline starter that the Braves drafted him to be. Coming in at number 4 is Patrick Weigel. Weigel literally came out of nowhere. In 2015, he was drafted in the 7th round as a reliever at Pacific, Oxnard, and Houston universities. The Braves have seen the potential to develop him as a starter, and he hasn't disappointed. He's 6'6", 220, so he's quite the unit on the mound. He has a 4-pitch mix that utilizes a fastball that sits in the 94 to 95 range, though he can reach back for more, and it has sink to it. A slider, a curveball, and a changeup that needs some developing rounds out his toolbox of pitches. If he keeps these types of numbers up, Waggle could earn a call-up as early as this year, but more than likely he'll be called up in either 2018 or 2019. Coming in at number 3 is Mike Soroka. Where to start with this kid? Soroka is by far my favorite prospect on this list, but that doesn't make him the best. The 19-year-old Canadian junior national team ace, Soroka throws a low 90s fastball that he can command well, a sinker that gets opposing batters to drill and roll over into the ground, an above-average curve, and a changeup that he has a great feel for. As a young and rising star within the Braves farm system and minor league ranks, one would think Soroka's goal would be to make all-star appearances or win a Cy Young award or two, but not Soroka. He has said that he wants to be a workhorse and try to pitch 200 innings consistently once he reaches Atlanta. If the Canadian native can develop like he and the Braves hope, he could become a poor man's Greg Maddux. Coming in at number 2 is Colby Allard. Allard was seen as being taken in the top 10 of the 2015 MLB draft, but due to a stress reaction in his back, he fell all the way to the 14th overall pick where the Braves picked up the young southpaw. After he made his pro debut in 2015 with the GCL Braves, Allard was shut down and had to go under a minor procedure. He came back with a strong 2016 campaign where he started out with the Danville Braves and then was called up and finished the year with the Low A Rome Braves. A fastball that sits in the low to mid 90s and tops out around 97 to 98 with some ridiculous run and movement makes it more of a running fastball or a cutter than a true four-seam fastball. To round out his simple but effective 3-pitch arsenal, Allard utilizes a nice 12-6 curve that has some hard break and a plush changeup that is quite deceptive to hitters as it sinks more than it cuts. Scouts have noted that the young lefty hides the ball like MLB great and Braves menace Cliff Lee. If that comparison holds and he keeps progressing and developing, Allard could become a mainstay in the MLB rotation in the years to come once he gets his big league call-up. Before we get to number 1, let's get to some honorable mention guys. Honorable mention goes to Cale Morris, AJ Minter, and Lucas Sims. And coming in at number 1 is Sean Newcomb. Newcomb is probably the most pro-ready and physically gifted out of all the pitching prospects in the Braves system. Coming in at 6'6" and weighing around 250 to 255, this guy is a freak of nature. The weight isn't fat either, as it's more in his lower half and in his legs that generates a fastball that can sit anywhere in the 90s, but more than likely will sit in the low to mid 90s and then top out at around 99 miles per hour. A change that can consistently sit in the 81 to 84 range was a pitch he developed more feel for and looks to become a plus pitch for him. His curve that sits in the upper 70s can top out at 82 and has a very tight rotation on it and often looks like a slider than a true curve. Another breaking pitch, a slurve, is a lefty strikeout pitch and it sits in the high 70s consistently. Due to his 3/4 arm action and an imposing frame on the mound, many scouts have compared Newcomb to the legendary Randy Johnson, but a more realistic comparison would be Chicago Cubs ace John Lester. Either way, if those comparisons hold, Newcomb could become the dominant ace that the Braves front office traded for, and the one fans and executives have been craving for since the days of Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddux. So that does it for this top 10 pitching prospects list. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Sweet Georgia Sports. Thanks, God bless, and stay choppy, Atlanta.